Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to set up your Healbot. So I'm going to list the timestamps in the description box below, and I'm also going to list them in the pinned comments. I hope this video was helpful for you. Please leave a like and comment, and also please share your YouTube channel if you have one. Thank you for watching. Okay, welcome back. I'm going to show you how to download Healbot for World of Warcraft. So if you're new to downloading add-ons, you would just go to the Twitch app to download that. If you didn't have the Twitch app, you would just go to Google, or just type in Twitch app in Google, and the website is twitch.tv/downloads, and then you just click on that. I'm going to link it in the description, and you can download the app for Windows, or you can download it for Mac. And then once you have it installed, you're going to be on the main screen. So what you want to do is click on Mods, click on World of Warcraft. Now if you want it for Classic, you would click on Classic. If you want it for Retail, you would click Retail, depending on what game you have. Then you'll put Get More Add-ons. I'm going to type in the search bar Healbot, and Healbot Continued. This is the current version. You click Install, and then it will download and unzip directly to your WoW folder. And to check, just click back on My Add-ons, and see it shows up right here. So when you load in game, all you have to do is enable in game. Okay, welcome back. In this section, I'm going to show you how to download the add-on Healbot, or any add-on really, because in 2020 and December 2nd, the Twitch app will no longer have mods. So it says, we're pleased to announce a new home for CurseForge. Says the mods feature in the Twitch desktop app will be moving to a new dedicated desktop app managed by Overwolf, which is available now. Please click here to visit the Overwolf site, where you can download the Overwolf's desktop app, learn about their future plans for mods, and the CurseForge website. Or if you're a web user, you can click here to learn more. On December 2nd, the mods tab in the Twitch desktop app will no longer be supported. So I'm just going to click on here, and I'm going to bring this over, and I'm going to download for Windows, and I'm going to download this. I'm going to install this on my computer and see what this does. I just learned about this today. Go through the steps. Create a desktop shortcut. That's fine. I have read the rules. Next. And then new home for mods. Just download the quick installer. Hopefully it's simple like Twitch was. Get all my mods and add-ons are here. All here. Let's see if they're all there. I will link this in the description below as well. If you're watching this after December 2nd, you can ignore the Twitch portion. See what this does. Let this open. Sorry, it's a little slow. A lot of things. Okay, it's opening. Probably the longest segment here. This part. About this today. Let's get my intro. Let me make this big screen. So click on World of Warcraft. Looks like all my add-ons are there. That's good. Click on Get More Add-ons. So click on Search for Add-ons. So you could type in Healbot here, and it would show up. And click Enter, and I would just click there and click on it. I hope that was helpful. Okay, so here I'm going to show you how to download the Healbot add-on from the Healbot website. The Healbot website is healbot.cpm15.net. So what you need to do is click on the main page, and you would click on Files, hover over Files, then click on Downloads. If you wanted Healbot for Classic, you click Classic. If you wanted it for Retail, you would click on Retail. Next, go under the downloads section, and it's right here, and just click on Healbot zip file. A new page opens, so you just want to click download and pick where you want that to go. I'm going to choose my desktop and save that. I'm going to load on my desktop here. From here, all you need to do is right click and then click extract files. And then I'm going to click on where my WoW folder is located. I'm going to double click World of Warcraft. Going to double click retail. Then I want to double click interface. Double click add-ons. That's where I want my folder to save to. Click OK. And now my Healbot is downloaded and it's able to use in game as soon as I log in. How do you enable the add-on to play in game? So first thing, if you're new to add-ons, all you would do is click on add-ons, and there'll be a list of add-ons you downloaded. In order for them to show up in your game, you have to click one, and there'll be a check mark. So for Healbot, the basic thing that you need is you need Healbot main add-on, you need Healbot data, extra skins, options, you would need tooltips, and then you would need localization, a Healbot English localization. And therefore, it doesn't say dependency. Like some say dependency disabled, and you just make sure you have that checked. And then you're able to use all the actions and you can use all the features. And then you just click OK. And when you log in, you're presented with a Healbot and you're able to start customizing it to your own. Okay, so once you've downloaded the add-on and you enabled it at the main screen of WoW, when you first load WoW for the first time with Healbot enabled, you have this little green bar on your screen, and there are 3 ways to access the Healbot menu. I'm going to go over those 3 right now. First one is going into your chat box and just doing /Healbot, type that in and hit enter, and that brings up the option. From there, you can hit close. The second way is to click the options right on your bar exactly, and that opens up the menu as well. And you can click close that way. You can also open it, click it to open, click it again to close. And a third way is to have it on your mini map, and you would just see a little H on your mini map right here. If you wanted to move it, you could hold down Alt and left click it, and you can move it around the mini map. So you just put same way, click it once, the H to open, click it again to close. Also click it and press close at the bottom. So if you wanted this options here and this options on your mini map to be hidden, you could go to Healbot, General. You could hide options button. You won't be able to access it from your bar here. You can also hide the mini map button or show the mini map button. So here I have it hide options button on my bar. Show mini map button is unchecked. The only way here I can access it is if I type in Healbot. So you can fiddle around with however you would like that. In this section, I'm going to show you something that's pretty new to the Healbot add-on. So under General, there are options theme. So you can, right now it's in gold. So all the lettering here is in gold. But you have the option to change it to any other color you like. There's silver, aqua, blue, dark, fuchsia, green, and so forth. So that's something really interesting. So you can go ahead and change that to your liking. For this video and the rest of this tutorial, I'm going to keep it back to gold. Okay, welcome back. In this section, I'm going to show you how to set up the 4 skins that come with the add-on. So when you first install the add-on, you'll have a frame in the middle of your screen here. And all you want to do is just click on options. And then you want to click on skins and click on general. And at the very top here, it says use skin. And there are 4 skins that are standard default with the add-on. Standard, group, rate 25, and rate 40. And underneath that, you can click on this general part. There's defaults for each one you pick. So for example, that means if you wanted to have a separate skin for party, a separate skin for rating, a separate skin for battleground, a separate skin for arena, and so on, you can do that here. So for example, say you won't have to manually change it either. It would do it for you automatically. So say I wanted standard to be solo, I would just make sure I click solo. If you wanted any of the other options, you just make sure it's checked. And if you don't want it, you just uncheck it. And then I would go down to group, and I would say it defaults to this right side of the screen. So say I wanted group and party, I would just click party. Say I wanted that for arena, I would check that for arena. Say I wanted raid 25 for raid 25, raid 10. Say you wanted raid 40 for battleground 40 or raid 40, you just make sure that's checked. So next thing I'd want to do is click on a skin, whichever one you want to start with first. I'm just going to click on raid 25, and I'm going to go click on test. On the left hand side, the very bottom, third one up, click test, and whatever skin you pick from, pick the number of party raid, the number of people you want. In this slider here, you can change it. I'm going to click 25 players, and I'm going to click on turn on. And that's going to give me a test option of what the bars would look like to simulate what it would look like in actual raid. So from here, I can click on skins, and I want to make sure I hide my raid frames because I'm going to be using raid frames in these raid frames. And I'm going to also check hide party frames. Another thing I want to do is go down to frames, and say I liked it here, I wanted to keep it at this particular spot, I could lock it. I can close automatically. If you want that option, you can just check the box. If you don't, uncheck it. I can play a sound when it opens, so or you can uncheck it if you don't like that. Here, you can where you want your frame relative to the screen. So you can have it left, top left, bottom left, top right, bottom right, top left, right, and bottom. I'm just going to click on top right. And here, where the bars are in relation to the frame here, this background frame, I'm going to have them in the top right. I'm going to keep them at the top right. And here I'm going to keep them on vertical. You can change to horizontal, and that's how that would look. But I'm going to keep them on vertical. And then I want my bar orientation to be, say I wanted vertical, I would go to vertical. That's how your bars would move and when the player's health declines or goes up. So here you can change the scaling as well. So right now it's on 1, but I could come all the way up to 4. I could, change the scaling however I choose. So it's up to your liking to play around with your scaling. For now, I'm going to make it a little bigger for the video to kind of give you an idea what it looks like. I locked it, so I'm going to unlock that. I'm going to move it over. Okay, welcome back. In this section, I'm going to explain to you heal groups. Now, if you haven't followed along with me so far and you already know how to set up your Healbot, I'm going to walk you through the steps I did in like two short steps, a couple short steps. I'm going to click on my options. I'm going to go to skins. I'm going to click raid 25. I'm going to go down to test. And then put test on. And there's my test bars. I actually went to general. I went to frames. And then I clicked on frame scale. And I made this at 165 just for the video's sake. I moved this up. And there we are. That's how I got to that point. So on my heal groups, I'm going to click on heal groups. And you're probably wondering what that means. So right now everything's in a block. You see the test self, test healer, test raid. So if you want a particular section in your raid to show, you would have a heal group for that. Like they're all going to show up anyway in the block, your whole raid. But say you wanted them sectioned off. Just think of them as heal groups as a section. Tanks is a section, healers are a section, vehicles are a section, pets are a section, etc. Just go on with that. So on the right hand screen, you see groups. So we have these options here. Main tanks, self, healers, group, raid, private list, vehicle, pets, target, focus, and enemy. So for the sake of the video, I'm going to check everything, and then I'm going to keep that for the next section. But that's how you would do that if you wanted everything to show. Now, say for example, you have your main tanks. You want your main tanks in frame 1. There you go. Your tanks are showing up right here. If you wanted your main tanks to show up on a different side of your rate frame, you would go back to your frames and you would move your anchor. So here I'm at top right. They wanted them on the left hand side. I would click on left, top left. There are your tanks on the left. So that's how that would work. Okay, welcome back. In this section, I'm going to show you how to set up your headers. So I'm going to click on Options. I'm going to click on Headers. I'm going to click Show Headers. And the headers is only going to show the heal groups that I enabled. Do you remember the heal groups we enabled? That's what it's going to show. So I know it looks crazy now. I'm going to show you how to fix it. Just click on Bars. And here I'm showing, all you would do is just play around with your groups per column. And you can decide how you want it to look. So I'm going to scroll down to 1 group per column. And this is personal preference, so you pick whatever you want. You have 1 to 10 options. You pick whatever you like. And here it's going to show my headers at the top. If you want them to show on the side, you click on General. And you click on Horizontal. And then your headers will show over here under Grow Direction. I'm going to click back on Vertical, so they show at the top. I'm going to go back to Bars. Go back to Headers. I'm on my headers. So here at the very, very top, you have bar color. And if you just click the red icon, you can pick any color you want from here. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick a random color. I'm going to click this green color. And at the right hand side, you can show text color. You can change your text color. I'm going to click the red button. And since I picked a green for the header, I'm going to pick a white. So I'm going to click Select. And then I'm going to click on Apply Settings to All Frames. That way, all my frames, I have all these frames here. They're all frame 1, but you can change them to whatever frame you want. So that's why I picked all frames. So here under headers, you can change the texture. So it's on this texture 16, but you can click on whatever texture you like. You just have to click through the slider where you can hold down your mouse and slide left or right. I'm going to click on this texture 20, and you can change the height underneath that. I'm going to play around with that. I'm going to pick this height here. You can change the width of that. I'm going to maybe lower that a little bit. You can change the font color. The font itself. I'm going to change the font. And I can change the font size. I'm going to raise the font a little bit. And the font outline. You can have no outline, a thin outline, or a thick outline. And you can have the offset as well to -10 all the way to 25. I'm going to kind of move this like in the middle a little bit. I'm going to make it thin. And then again, I'm going to click on Apply Settings to All Frames. And that's how you would change your headers. So if you didn't want them to show, you would uncheck that. If you want it to show, you check it. And that's how that works. Another thing I forgot to mention was if you didn't want to show your headers at all, you click on Options and you click on Uncheck Headers. And then you see everything's like in one line. You're like, what the hell? So what you can do there is click on Bars and you just change your columns. That's all you have to do. Go to Bars, under Skins, and you just change the columns back to how you want them to look. and you don't have to worry about having headers at all. You just still have your hero groups. So it's really nice. Okay, welcome back. In this section, I'm going to walk you through the bar section. So here, I'm going to click on Options, and I'm using the same RAID frames we did for the headers layout, but the headers are not enabled. So I'm still at 165 frame for my frame. So I'm clicking on bars, and I'm going to click on General. And here, you can change the first option you have, change the texture. So that's just the background of your bar. So you can change it by just left clicking and sliding it, or just clicking over. And you can just play around with the options that are available to you and pick one you like. I'm going to pick at random a particular texture. I'm going to click this one that looks pretty pleasing, this Tuck UI one. And here, the second option is columns. So I have columns, 5 columns right here, but you can play around with it and have 1 column. You could have 10 columns. You could have groups per columns. It's really up to your preference. I'm going to pick 5 columns since I'm in a 25 man. This is only blown up for visual purposes. It probably wouldn't be this big in a RAID. So the third option here is the height. So you can change the height, make it super small, or you can have it pretty big. It's really up to your preference. I'm just going to pick something in the middle here randomly. And then the width as well. You can change the width of your bars and just pick however you like. I'm going to raise this height and width a little bit for the video to make it a little easier to see. So here you have a row spacer, and that means the space between the rows, obviously. So you can change that all the way up to number 10 or as small as 0. And then you also have a column space at 0 or at 10. So there's the difference between those two. And then you have a low man indicator as well. So you can click it to show it or don't show. And to show, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options here. You can pick whatever you prefer. And then once you're done with that, you can move on to the next step, which is colors. So here the health bars are set up by class. So you can change that here under health bar, class, health. If you want health, it'll be green background. You can also change a custom. And if you want a custom color, you just click on this little red dot and you pick your color. You select it and you're good to go. And then the opacity of the bars, you can put it at low as 25%, or you can have it as high as 100%. And the background bar, you can have it set up for health, class, or custom. If you want custom, again, easy, just click the red button rather, and pick your color, and then hit select. And then you just go back to bars, and your opacity for your background bar could be as low as 5%, 0%, all the way up to 75%. And then your incoming heals, you can choose to show them or don't show them. If you don't want to show it, just click don't show. Your health, you can have it as health, you can have it as future health, and you can have a custom. If you want custom, again, click the red button, click your color, easy. And then you can have the opacity for that shown as well. Say for instance you wanted to put like a scenario word on someone and you wanted it to show. That's one way to do that. Or a bubble for beasts or whatnot. Absorb effects, I guess, would be kind of the same way. You can also show don't show, health, future health, custom. And again, if you wanted custom, you just click the red button. Pick your color. Easy. And you can also change the opacity of that as well. And then you have at the very bottom here, your out of range opacity. And you could have that as high as 100%. Or you could have it as low as 0%. or you wouldn't see it at all. But somewhere near the middle is probably where you would want it. You just fiddle around with that. Your own liking. The default was 30, and I feel like that was a good number. I'm gonna put it back to 30. And the disabled opacity, if you don't know what any of this means, get confused, you can hover over the names and it kind of tells you with the tooltip here. It says the outer range opacity sets the transparency of the heal bars in an enabled state and the player's outer range. And then the disabled says set the transparency of the heal bar when the bar is in disabled state. So the disabled is set at 12% by default. You can always change it wherever you like. So I'm going to set the health bar back to class, and I'm going to keep it. So here under sort is this third tab. You can sort your tabs. So their options here are group, name, class, group, max health, role, or none. And again, that's up to your preference. I'm going to click on class, and then I'm going to click on group, and then I'm going to click on max health, role, and none. So it's really up to your preference. It just organizes your frames however you like them to see, however you want them to be seen. And then the subsort is the same thing. Max health, group, class, name, role, or none. So that's up to your own liking. And then the next tab is visibility. So your alert level in combat, an easy way to see this is to show you, turn off your test bars. You see how it's kind of opaque? If you go back to bars, and if you put it to 100, and then your alert level out of combat is at 100, you see it's green. I'm sorry, it's a little more solid orange for me because I'm a druid, but whatever, if you're on class colors, that's how that would look. So if I go back to test, and I turn on my test bars, and I click back on bars, and I go to visibility, your alert level in combat, if you have it out of combat, in combat it'll be 100, and that's how you can kind of tell if they're in combat, and if they're out of combat, kind of see if they're dim. If you make it a little lighter, 100, you can kind of tell they're like not there. So that's really helpful. You can also hide bars over 100 yards. Really, that's up to your liking. You can show bars for every class. And next thing is you can indicate groups for what classes you want them to show in, and that's up to your preference. So the next tab is aggro. You can monitor aggro. If you want it on, you check it. If you don't want it on, you uncheck it. And then you can show percentage. You can show text. You could check it to show it, or uncheck it, not show. And it would make their bar sure they have aggro. It'll tell you you can have a text, or it'll show icon in the bar that they have aggro. So it'll say like here they have aggro with the text, or you could show the indicator, or both. So that's one way to do it. And then you could have low threat, high threat, or tanking, or you could have ox bar level, high threat, or tanking. Okay, welcome back. In this section, I'm going to show you how to set up the text options and how to change the fonts and colors and such. So I'm using the same mock setup I used for the other examples. I just went into options, and I'm using the skin ray 25, and I just went down to test, and I turned on bars for 25 players. So to access the options for the text, you just click on skins and then scroll down to text, and you have two options at the very top here. You have name and health. So name is the player's name. Here it just says test raid 11, but on a real raid it'll have the name, or the name of the player. So right now it's default by class. is set by class on mine, for example. So it's blended in with the class color background bar. So if you didn't like that, you have other options. The other options are health. That makes that a green text color. Another option is you can change it to custom. And you would just click on this red dot, and then you would just pick a color you like and click select. Back to text. You can enable the opacity. It sets at 95%. You can change that to 100. I'm going to go back to 95. You can change the disabled opacity. It's defaulted at 50%. So when that player in your raid is not, or like AFK or not really active, it'll show as little dim, a little grayed out a little bit. So the other option is to show the name on bar. You can uncheck that and it hides the name. You can show class on bar, this little icon. You can also set up tags, separate things you want them to say, like say if they're dead or out of range or reserved. So for like out of range, you could type in OOR for out of range. Dead, you could write in RIP or something, whatever you want them to say or show up on your raid frames or party frames. So underneath that, you can also change the font color, the font style. So here I'm just going to scroll through and just look around at the different options. And I'm going to go ahead and pick a font. I'm going to click on, let's pick a different one. Let's try, that looks fine. And then you can also change the font size. You just click around to you find one you like, whichever is your preference. And then you can change the offset, the vertical offset of it as well. And you can change the alignment. So you can have it either go left, middle, left, or right. And you can change the max character. So if you wanted to just have maybe the 3 characters of each person's name, you could have that, or 5, or the max is 30. And then also the last text option is outline. So you can have no outline, you can have a thin outline, or you can have a thick outline. So I'm going to leave it on thin outline. It looks good. Now underneath here you see 100%. So that's the default health. So just click on health text here. And you can have the health on as percentage. Right now it's on percentage. Or you can have it as health, which will have like your max health. Or you could have delta, which is the number in parentheses. You can even have it format it how you want it to look. And you can change those options here. And then you can include incoming heals to have no incoming heals, separate incoming heals. Okay, here at the very bottom, you also have different font styles you can choose for the health text. So here I'm just going to scroll through. I'm going to put this on percentage to show 100%. I'm going to pick a different font. So for name, I used this AR font. So for health, I'm going to use maybe something a little bit bolder. How about Star Jedi? And you can change the font size. Just as just an example. And I'm going to go ahead and change the text color to custom. I'm just going to, for example, use a red color. I wouldn't normally do this, but this is just an example of the contrast of the colors. So that's pretty much the basics of the font text choices. I hope this was helpful. Okay, in this section, I'm going to show you how to reset your Healbot to default in case you ever need to do that. So I'm going to click on Options. I'm going to click on Defaults. I'm going to click Reset All Options to Default Values. I'll click on Yes. And then I'm going to click on Test, turn on because it turns that off. And then I'm going to go ahead and reload my game. And that reset everything back to 0. And that's like if you really messed up and you really got confused. I wouldn't recommend you do that often, but that's something that's really important to know. Okay, welcome back. In this section, I'm going to show you how to import skins directly from Addon. So this is a new feature. Before you were only able to import and export from the website, and now you can do it from the from the add-on itself. So what I'm going to do is click on Options. I'm going to click on Skins, and I want to say I'm going to import a group add-on. A group skin. I'm going to click on Group, and then I'm going to come down here to Import and Export, and I'm going to click on Group, and I'm going to click on the first option, which is Group, and then I'm going to scroll over here, and I'm going to click on the first one I see, and I'm going to click on that, and I'm just going to click Import, and I'm going to put on my test bars. I'm going to show 5 players to see what the skin looks like. That looks pretty nice. I like that. So under skins, it shows up here a skin I can choose. So in addition to the 4 that you already had, now I have this one that I imported. I'm going to do a couple more. I'm going to click on test bars off. I'm going to go to skins, make sure I'm on group. I'm going to go to import export. I'm going to select skin group. I'm going to select group. I'm going to click the next one down, and I'm just going to import that one. I'm going to go down to test. I'll test my bars, and this is what this one looks like. It looks pretty nice. So when I come back on skins, I see I have now all these options. I have this one I can pick from. I can use the standard group one. I can use the one I just downloaded, which is this top one here. So there you have it. Okay, welcome back. In this section, I'm going to show you how to delete the skins that you imported. So I'm going to click on Options, and I reset my Healbot, so I'm just going to import one real quick. So I'm going to click on Skins, Group, Import Export, click on Group. I'm going to click on the first one, Group, and I'm going to click on the first, I'm going to click a random one. Let's do black and white group, click Import. So I'm going to hit Test, just see what it looks like real quick. Turn on, it looks pretty. So say I want to go back to skin. Say I don't like it anymore and you want to get rid of it. You just click on that one you don't like and click delete, and it's gone. That's all you have to do. In this section, I'm going to show you how to import a Healbot skin manually using the Healbot website. So I'm in game, and I loaded up my game, so I'm going to tab out and go to the Healbot website. I had a skin open previously. So when you're at the main screen at the top, you would just click on Import Export, and then you would just click on Skins, and here are all the files, and they have a separate tab for the pictures. So if you click on Gallery, you can kind of scroll through them and see what they look like and find one you like. So I'm going to get out of this one. I'm going to click on this one right here. I like this one. So I'm going to click on Files, and it's this one here, Transparent. It opens up a text document. So click Control A, press Control A on your keyboard, Control C or Command C on a Mac. Go back to WoW, click Options, click Import Export. I already have it in here already. Just click Import. Well, first select Skin. It's a raid, so I'm gonna click Raid. Doesn't matter, whatever you want. Just make sure it's the right skin. When you look at the actual import of it, they are using a raid skin. It's definitely a raid. So I'm gonna go back to WoW. I'm gonna click on Import, and it imported it for me. I'm gonna test it to see what it looks like. I'm gonna just like 30 bars. Going to click on my frames and unlock it. Apply settings to all frames. I'm gonna move it over here. It looks pretty nice. That's how you would manually import a Healbot skin from the Healbot website. Welcome back. In this section, I'm going to show you how to export a skin And save a file on your computer and also make it into a zip file for saving it for future use. So I'm going to open up the options. I'm going to scroll way down to the bottom and click Import, Export. And make sure I'm on the correct skin. Under Select Skin, I'm going to hit the drop-down menu and make sure I'm on the correct one. And once I have the one I like and I want to save it, I'm going to just click on Export. And I'm going to go to my desktop here. If you wanted to use a separate program, just open that program. Make sure it's a Word document. I'm going to use Notepad. I'm going to right click on my desktop, New, Text Document. I'm going to open that. And then I'm going to just right click and do Paste. I'm going to save as. Save this as skin 1, 2, an example. I'm going to hit save. And that saved that to my desktop. Here it is. And if I want to save this as a zip file, all I need to do is right click it all the way down to send to, compress zip folder, click it, and it makes a zip folder for you. That's all you have to do. Welcome back. In this section, I'm going to show you how to have your skin show up on the game add-on. So when you click on options, and then you come to import export, and you pick a skin from over here under extra skins. If you want your skin to show up over here, all you have to do is just take a screenshot of your skin. Say for example, this is the one I want to use. I'll just take a screenshot of that. And then I will come to the Healbot website. I will come to import export. Click on that. Click on extra skins. There's an ad. Wait for this ad. And then I will go to share your skin in game. And then if you have a description of what to do, so here at the very top, it says all you have to do is reply to the post here and a screenshot of your skin, export in a zip file, which we just did, and then information about the skin. And also what skin, whether it's group raid, large raid, etc. And here's an example. So, hi, I share my skin of 40 PvE healing. I hope you like it. There's a screenshot. Here's the file. And here's that. So you don't have to download it this way. You go into the game 40 PvE. You would go to import export, large raid, 40 PvE. It would be in here somewhere. That's how that would work. And once it's approved, you'll get a reply back on the website, and he will say, "Thank you. It has been added." And that's all you have to do. Come back. In this section, I'm going to show you how to set up your spells. So right now, I'm just using the group skin, and I made the bar a little visually bigger so you can see what I'm doing. So basically, you just click on options, and then you click on spells. So the first option you have is set spells enabled, disabled, enabled at all times, disabled when out of combat, or enemy bars at all times. So that's really your preference. And the next thing is opacity, always use enabled. You can always uncheck that if you don't want that. And then cast when released is exactly what that means. So if you're using a mouse, when it's released, the spell will be cast. Or if you want it immediately when it's pressed, that's what that is. You have button options here, left, middle, right, and then button 4 all the way to 15. So for example, say you want to use your left button. You don't have to type in the spells. You can click this little question mark, and you can click the spells that way to set them up. So for example, say I want to use Swift Mend, and I want to hit select. All I would do is just hit my Swift Mend, Swiftman's. Oops, sorry, wrong button. I'm used to my own keybinds. Say for example, I wanted to shift click for Ironbark. I would click select. I could shift click Ironbark. And if you wanted control click, if you wanted to use a macro, you could put a macro in there that way. Say I wanted a different spell, maybe a bark skin, control click, use that way, it's bark skin. And then you go all the way down to each option and pick what spell you want. You also have an option on the right hand side here to use a trinket. See if I have a trinket on, use trinket. I have a trinket on the bottom. So say I want to use, say I want this to be rejuvenation, for example. I want my auto trinket. It should use my trinket. Yeah, see my trinket went down on cooldown. Another option is you can click middle. You can change everything separate. So there you go. You have left. I did some left examples. It's the same for middle and right. You just go through each spell. Another thing is if it's not in the little screen here and just click on select, you can just always type it in. For example, you could just type in regrowth. But if it's not on there already, you can type it in. And then that's really it. You can also change your buttons around. It's pretty much to your preference. That's as easy as it gets. And then you can change the menu. The menu is Shift Control Alt Click. So Shift Control Alt Click. I know that's kind of confusing. You can always change that as well anywhere in here. So you have the menu, the target, and you can have all your spells really up to your own key binding preferences, your macros as well. Then you can just do that for the right and the middle button, and then keep going down however many buttons you have on your mouse. It's really up to you. I hope that was helpful. So if I wanted to change everything around, I can do that. Welcome back. In this section, I'm going to show you how to set up your icons. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on options, and I'm going to click on icons. And at the very top, you have some options you can choose from. You have debuffs, buffs, extras, and then there's general, and then text. So I'm going to start with the buffs. And you have the position on the bar. You can have it on the bar, off bar, or below bar. So I'm going to go ahead and cast some spells so you can kind of see what this looks like. So here's what it looks like on the bar, right here. And you can also change it to show off bar. And it extends it a little bit to the right. Or you can have it below bar. You can also add some spells. You can position the icon anchor on the right or left. So right now it's on the left, or you can position it on the right. You can have max icons of 12. You can have a double row, which would look like this. Or you can have a no double row. You can change the scaling of it, the icon, make it smaller by clicking on the left. Or you can go all the way to the very top as one, and you can see the different options there. So you have here opacity always use enabled, so that means the icon will show through. So another option in here you can check is extras, and under the ready check you can show ready checked. You can click that off, or you can have it clicked on. These will not work unless you have it said opacity always use enabled. So in order to kind of show you what that looks like, if you look on class role and you see it shows my little icon of my class here, if I uncheck that, I don't see it. And if I check it on, I see it. But the reason that I see it is because I have opacity always use enabled on. If I check this off, I won't see it. Say if you had ready check on, to show ready check, you wouldn't see it unless you had this opacity always on. So with the same options for the icons that you had for the icons under buffs, you have the same under debuff. Well, similar. You can show the duration from 3 to 99. Duration warning from 3 to 9. And you can change the font size. The font style, and then the font size. And you can also put an outline on it. Under the extras, we have a class role, which you can have on bar. You can use the debuff settings or use the buff settings. You can use on bar, off bar, or below bar. And you can also position this one as well on the left, right, or center. You can also change the offset of it, the vertical offset and the horizontal offset, and the icon scaling as well. And then with the raid target, you can show on bar, off bar, below bar, and you can also use the debuff or buff settings if you like those better. And it's kind of the same thing, really. Just pick what you like. If you want it to show, you have to make sure this opacity always use enabled is checked. And then the ready check, we went over that. And then the out of range arrow. Show out of range direction. You can also have it only on mouse over. Mouse over, you'll see it. It's just an arrow, and it direct shows you where the person is in relation to you, north, south, east, west. Again, change the position of the icon with the buff settings, or you can choose on, off, or below bar, and then the anchor in relation to where it is here. So again, offset, vertical and horizontal, and the scaling. And if you want that to show, make sure the opacity always use enabled is on. And that's it for icons. So wait, one more thing. You're back here on buffs. Make sure you apply settings to all frames if you're using more than one frame. That way it won't be a big mess. So just make sure I check that if I'm, for example, using more than one frame. Welcome back. In this section, I'm going to show you how to set up your buffs. So I would just go to options and click on buffs. And you have this option at the very top that says monitor for debuffs. If you don't want buffs, uncheck that. Also in combat or only when in group or raid, choose your options. If you want that or don't want it, make your decision there. So here you have your spells you can debuff. For me, I only have a few to choose from. Might have a lot more. So for example, I'm just going to click on what I have available to me. Click on raid. Have other options here as well. You can change the bar color. So say I want it to be a hot pink. I'll click yes. Okay. Okay. Maybe I want to iron work on tank, for example. Main tank. Let's make this maybe a red. Okay. Maybe I want to bark skin on another druid. Make that brownish. And keep going forward. And you can just keep going down the list. You can even at the bottom show buff before it expires. It'll show you a short buff for 10 seconds or a long buff for 2 minutes. So you can change the timers here with the slider up to 5 minutes all the way down to 0. Or you can have a short buff, so for 0 seconds all the way to 2 minutes. You can go ahead and change these to your liking. One frame. Welcome back. In this section, I'm going to show you how to set up your debuffs. So you just click on debuffs, and then you can click on the very top. If you don't want your frames to show when you have a debuff, you can just click this button and check this off. If you want debuffs to show, you just make sure the check mark's there. Also, same as the buffs, you can have it in combat or only when group or raid. That's really up to your preference. So here, spell to remove debuffs. So, for example, I don't have a lot, but I just have Nature's Cure. So I want to make sure that's enabled for me so I see it as a healer to know Nature's Cure on self, Nature's Cure on party, and Nature's Cure on raid. So I have every option there for me, so when I can decurse or dispel, it'll pop up for me. So here there's a duration. You can have it 0.5 all the way up to 2.5 seconds. You can ignore debuffs. The spell cooldown is, greater than 2.1 seconds, or when a caster is known as a friend. So here is at the very bottom, the priority, disease, magic, poison, and curse. You can change this also by using the drop-down menus. So that's up to your preference. And here you can also change the colors as well. So play around with those colors: disease, magic, poison, and curse. Again, it's up to your preference. That's how you would set that up. In addition, you can also click on custom, and you can make it make a custom debuff. So say, for example, you wanted to add a debuff. I don't know why it's hard to say that. You would click on the name, the letter rather. Say you wanted to do Grievous, so you go to G to H. You would type in Grievous. It should show already, but you could click save Grievous, and you could put in a spell ID, my enemy, and you would put the ID name here, like to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or whatever, and just save it. And there it saved it. That's not the right one, but you obviously would go to Wahaj and get that. So you could also have the priority for your custom debuff saved too, and that's one way to go ahead and save your debuffs. And at the very bottom here, you can always reset if you messed up or whatever. And at the very bottom, you can have automatic debuffs for all disease, all poison, all magic, all curse, all bosses, and all timed. Another thing to mention is if you click on the Healbot website and you go to the forums, then also, we'll just click on forums. Sorry, I didn't click the button. And then you go to custom buffs and custom debuffs. So really, that's depending on what you want and what you like. People have a lot of interesting things that they share. So here's something looks pretty neat, custom debuff, and if you want to import them, you just go ahead and that was not a good example. But let's go back to the actual import export custom buffs group. Sorry about that. I went into an actual FAQ by accident. So here we are, custom buffs and share your content. So there are new groups in this category. I wonder if there's another one in another category. Let's go back. There's nothing in custom buffs, but there seems to be a lot more in custom debuffs times. So here we are for Mythic For debuffs, there's a lot more. So here, for example, you see one here for all mythic debuffs for 8.3. People are pretty much on top of this forum. So here's some custom debuffs, and you would add the IDs to that over here with the debuff as well. So these are all in French, but not everyone is in French. Just kind of go scroll through the forums here and have a little look-see. Like here's one for their last raid. That was pretty interesting. Available here, and you just click the button and you can download them that way. All the debuffs. Yeah, so there's a lot of them. That's how you would download custom buffs, custom debuffs. And it's the same thing too if you wanted to go back to that forum and make a post and share your own. But reply to the conversation and post your own as well. So really, it's like if you were looking on Wahed for one and you wanted to put one in here. It's the same thing that you would do over at the website. You would just copy the ID and put it in a little box. So that's how you would do that. I hope this was helpful. In this section, I'm going to make a mock-up group skin. So I'm going to click on Options, click on Skins, click Group. I'm going to use hide party frames and reload that. Okay, close. Going to click on Options again. I'm going to come down to frames. I like it here. I'm going to keep all this for now. I'm going to click on heal groups. I'm going to uncheck healers and private list and pets and target and focus. I'm just going to put main tanks group. Not going to show my headers. I'm going to go to my bars. I'm going to go to my opacity, enable my opacity to 100. I'm going to go back to color bar by class, background bar by health, coming heals don't show, absorb effects don't show, and then I'm going to go to general. I'm going to just change texture here, visibility. I'm going to alert out of combat at 100, colors, texture. I'm going to pick a texture I like. That looks good. One column is fine. Might make this 50. I can get 50. And width, try 170, 180. Looks good. Okay. I'm going to use no spacers. Let me an indicator. That's good. So my colors look good. I'm going to use no outline for the background bar. Health. Everything here looks good. My sort, I'm going to leave it on group. Disability, in combat, out of combat. I always keep it at 100. Just me. You can change it however you want. I'm going to monitor for aggro. I'm going to leave the aux alone. Under text, I'm going to text. I'll pick a custom color here. Custom. I forgot to mention, I didn't mention this in the other videos. When you click on custom, you can actually use the color wheel. But I didn't mention that any other time. Let's go back. I'm going to text by custom. I'm going to click on this. Let's see. Colors look good. Purple. Purple looks pretty nice. I like that white color. Okay. So show name on bar. I can also show class on bar. Druid. PC rip, out of range R. I like that. Let's change this font. Morpheus. Do Morpheus. I'm going to change this to the left side. Say no. Do a different font. Emerald. Scurry. We could do Scurry. Spicy rice. Looks fine. Let's do... I like that. That looks fine. Health. Let's make this to a 14. No outline. Yeah, I like that better. And then health is, what was the name of the scurry? Scurry. I'm going to put this to scurry as well. There we go. I was at 14 font, so let's do 14 font. I'm going to change this number here, the 17K, as a percentage. I'm going to leave that on the bar. I'm going to leave that auto. I'm going to leave auto. Include incoming heals here. No. Incoming heals. No absorbs. This is your preference. It's just a mock up. I'm going to leave this vertical offset. Leave it at 100. I think that looks fine. So for my icons, I'm going to go ahead and do something different here. Normally I would do, I'm going to do this off bar. I'm going to position this on the right. And under here, under the classes, I have this icon scale way big. I'm going to do this on off bar as well. Actually, no, I don't need that. So go back to ready buffs icons, below bar, off bar, I want this on the right. If this makes the frame smaller. Let's do the mic icons on off bar, bottom left. Let's see how that looks. Neat. I'm gonna try actually below bar. I like that one better. Double row. No, I don't want a double row. Let's just throw everything and see what it looks like. Alright, looks good. I like how that looks. Let's make the icons a little bigger. Like that, like that. That looks nice. So the text, I want to change this text on there as well. Do scurry. If I can find this text. 17, I think it was. There we are. This should show a different font here. My cooldown text. 9 there. See the 8, 7, 6. Okay. And again with my rejuve. Yeah. Smaller. I can make it bigger. So like if I wanted. See, now it's bigger. Okay. The text is good. So we got my debuffs. Going to go down to debuffs and monitor for Nature's Cure on raid, Nature's Cure on party, and Nature's Cure on self. These are my particular debuffs. So I have everything set up I think I like. Let's monitor for debuffs. General, I'm going to come to tips and just turn this off. Test 5 bars. See, it looks nice. I think it looks pretty good. I have to test it out in a raid, or I'm sorry, in a party. See how that would work out. So that's how easy it is to go ahead and set up a make sure you just pick the skin you like and pick where you want it to be on the screen under the frames. You can refer back to the previous sections and then pick your heel groups if you want to show headers, and then just how do you want your bars to look. General here, it's just the way it looks now. I can make this even bigger or smaller. And then the colors and the sort, and then you work on your text on your bar, and then your actual spell icons, and then make sure you have your debuffs set up. Debuffs, good. So thank you. I hope this is helpful. Okay, in this section, I'm going to make a mock raid frame, 5 layers. So click on skins, and then click on raid 25, and then go to taskbars, raid 25, and then set the bars to 30 or higher so you could see more frames. And then just click turn on. And then they are over here on the right. So I'm just going to move them over to the left hand side. The next thing I want to do is make sure I have all my heel groups that I want to have on. I'm going to use all the ones that are already enabled. The only ones that aren't checked right now are vehicle and enemy. If you want it, you just check it and you have another frame for that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on headers. I'm going to show my headers, and it's going to make it look funny. So all I need to do here is click on bars and just change my groups per column. I'm going to change that to 1. Let's make this bigger, yes, so we can see it better. Okay. And then make sure when you do that, you change anything with more than 1 frame. You can apply current tab settings to all frames. It saves it, and it doesn't give you any problem when you do that. Okay. Now I want to change this header to like be easier to see. So I'll go back on header. I'm going to change the background of it to the texture. I'm going to change this, a different background. And let's change the font too, and the font size. And what about an outline? Yeah, that would look nice. So let's do a thin one, or you can do thick outline. You can offset that if you like, vertical, horizontal. I'm sorry, -10 to +25 to save it when you're done and you like it. And next, the frames. There's more frames, so let's just change the extra frames you enabled. So like target focus and stuff like that. Just to be on the safe side, just make that look the same. So let's do the same color background. Same as here. The same font and the same font style, which was 13. Font size, sorry. Won't go. Okay. Then outline. We'll leave it at 12. That's fine. Save that. And that looks good so far. Next, I like the icons here. So I'm going to change my background bar texture. Bars. I'm going to change it to match. So there we go. I just clicked on it. This texture is Tech UI 4. It looks nice. Didn't change these 3. Didn't change these here or this one either. That's why you have to click this red button at the top, and it changes it for you. Simple. And then next, I want to change this text, right? Click on colors. Color text by class. So I can change to health. Makes it green, the background bar. But I already like the texture I have. So we're going to keep it the way it was. The background bar, it's already class colored now. So let's make it health, yeah? So it's easier to see when people die, yeah? Outline, we don't want an outline, do we? So if you do, you put fighter. If you don't want it, you put to 0. For future health and absorb, it's really hard to see on the test bars because you just can't see them on the test bars. But you would have to go into a raid or be in a group or a party with someone and just play around with those settings. They're really hard to do just by making it up. You really have to play around with those. So I suggest just going into like LFR or asking some friends to duel while you watch them, and you have this up, and then you can sit around and like see, oh, I don't like that, you know. You can kind of just like watch the bars or whatever. Or PvP is the best for that. Most you can like hide. The next, save your changes. Bar text. Um, this frame background texture, I really like it, how it blends in. If you don't like that, I don't like it, okay? Say health, you can put it to health, which is green text. You can make your own text by clicking custom and changing the color wheel. Or there's this red button here, and you can just pick whatever color you want. I'm gonna leave it on the class. The enabled opacity, you can change that and the disabled, but you're not going to be able to see them in the bars. You have to like literally take this off and look at them without the test bars. You can't see them. So show name on bar. Obviously, if you check that, uncheck it, you're not going to see the name. You can change the font here, font size. I'm going to leave that alone. That's not like super important. For this, the health, it's this number underneath. I'm just going to leave that how it is because I'm just trying to show you how to set up a mock frame. Icons, there's debuffs, buffs, extras, class roll, raid target, ready check, and out of range arrow. So debuffs, that's what a debuff is. These little debuffs here. So for example, it's on the bottom left right now, and it's on double row. And you probably want to know, what's that mean? What's a double row? So turn off your test bars, click on icons, click on buffs, like cast a spell or a buff. You have a buff to cast 2 buffs. Either stacked, that's what double row is. I don't want them stacked. Okay, check off double row, and they're side by side. If you don't like them that big though, you can just change the scaling here. Always check opacity, always use enabled so that you can see them. If not, and say you have it at 1, you cast a spell, you can see it, but not really. But now you can see it, right? Okay. Can you see it? Can you see it now? Now if you check double row and say you want to keep it like that, but you want it smaller, you can just scale it down. It's the same with the debuffs and all the other options here. So I'm going to turn on test bar, turn on. So icon, debuff. I'm going to put debuff on bar. You could put it off bar, off to the bar, on the side of the bar. You have left, bottom right, top left, top right, or below bar, left or right. Let's do on bar. Bottom left. I think that's the best one. Set up lightweight. So let's keep going on. Opacity, always use enabled. Make sure that's checked off. Next, go to buffs. And on bar, same thing with debuffs and buffs. On bar, off bar, or below bar. So on bar, off bar, on bar, below bar. Hard to decide, right? So let's pick on bar, bottom right, double row. Let's scale this to 9. I think that will look better. And then debuffs, scale this to 9. Don't forget, I have to check the opacity. See it. giving you an error. Don't worry about that. Just get bug over or something. Shadowlands just came out today, so I imagine there's going to be problems with let's see. Extras show out of range direction. Let's say on bar, only on massive. On bar, let's do top right. Opacity always use enabled. Okay. Ready check. Ready check. Let's do on bar. Opacity always use enabled on the top. And then ready target. These are all easy. On bar, off bar, below bar. Or if you like the settings for the debuff or the buff, you can go ahead and change that to reflect that on here. We're going to do ready check on bar on top and rate target on bar. This is just an example. Top right, scale this down to 4, and then class role, show class on bar, top 4, opacity always use enabled, make sure they're all checked, double check your work here. Oh, you can also fade on expire. I'm going to check those too. Nice. And then save your work here. Everything looks good. Just give it a look at it and see if you like it. Now go to frames. And do you like how your frames look? Do you like where it says pets, self, healers? Do you like how that looks? Or do you want to move it? So come to bar anchor. Right now it's on top right. Let's put on top left. Now, see the difference? Top right, pets, self, healers. Top left, pets, private list, group 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, healer, self, target, focus, main tank. You could do top right. You could do bottom right on the bottom here. Or you could do top left. Let's do top right. And then the bars horizontal or vertical. That's just for when people die. Stuff. Next, if you like this, you can clock it. That's basically the gist of it. I'm going to go back to heal groups. I'm going to actually click on, to be honest, I'm going to click on general. I'm going to uncheck sticky frames. I'm going to go to heal groups. I'm going to put my main tanks in frame 1. I'm going to apply settings to all frames. And now I have a separate frame where I can move focus and target. How did I do that? Because I put that under sticky frame. The pets, you just put pets here, target here, focus here. That looks a little weird. So, I went to general and I checked sticky frames. Now they're all at one frame. Now I put them back together, they're all at one. So I unchecked that and I moved them how I wanted and then sticky frames back on. Now they all move as one frame. That's how sticky frames are. General. And we'll go to heal grips and we'll take self and put that in a separate frame. Put that in group 5. And then I just want to go to test off, test on, and then it brings up the frame again, so I can move it over here. We got main tanks, healers, group 1, 2, 3, 4, private list. I have myself. I have focus, target, and pets. I think that looks pretty good. We could always make these also the height a little bigger and the width a little bigger too. Let's do that. So once you figure out how you want them to really look, let's say you want self to be on top of your tanks here, focus to be here. Just an example, target, test target, and then test pets. Say you like that. If you didn't, that's fine. Just for example, say you did. And just go to general and click sticky frame. And now it's all one frame. You can move it anywhere you want.